Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we are going to be kind of summarizing our Order 66 raid thoughts from our live stream over the weekend. If you guys missed it, I live streamed my Order 66 raid attempts for the first time, and I'm really happy the way that it went. It was I would argue, it was a very genuine stream. I did not do any kind of research beforehand. Like, I wasn't looking at what teams and what mods to use. I was kind of, chat was kind of directing me on what to do and how to work. And I wanted it to be that way because I wanted to go into it the way most players do. Most people do not go into these raids with, I've watched every single video, I know every little detail and what move to make. There's a process to it, and so I wanted you guys to see that live with me, and it worked really well. I had a lot of fun, so I really appreciate everybody who turned up for that. Again, going to be going through our thoughts, talking through the cons, the pros, the cons, everything. So let's get in here. Let's first and foremost just thank the channel members for their continued support. These folks have done so much just to be around on the channel, to join me on the streams. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate every single one of you. Whether you are, again, on that Wampa tier, the Jedi Master tier, or maybe you've only been granted a seat on the council, you are still all a massive part of the Fat family, and I really can't put into words how honored, humbled, and blessed I am that I get to do this. I say that a lot, but I truthfully do mean that some days I just sit here and I'm like, I get to create Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content. I get to, I get 1 penny, for every single video. Like, we're rich, right? So I really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. So let's get in here. Let's talk about this Order 66 raid. So I want to at least start with this point, right? I want to start here, and then we'll kind of, work our way into the actual footage. Overall, my biggest complaint, my biggest frustration with this raid is the availability of units. We still are, and again, maybe go into the roster to actually show it, because that's probably better. My biggest frustration is how quickly it feels this raid was released with the design characters, with the Mace Windu, with Hondo not yet in the game. There's a lot that's still to come, and it is frustrating. I understand that point. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but it is a problem, and I feel that there's going to be a lot of players who are going to really have to rush to get Mace Windu inside of 3 months. And as someone who buys the episode pass, I am in pretty good shape, but I still am like, I'm going to have to rush Depa. Like, I might have to dip into shipments for her depending on when she goes farmable comparative to his return. I really think they should have waited another month, if not 2, to have released to this raid, like they did with the Battle for Naboo. The Battle for Naboo raid, Jar Jar was released in May, and the raid was released in July. So there was a month period in the raid where Jar Jar wasn't active, and I felt that was really good, and I think that they should have stuck with that here. Again, I'm not a part of Capital Games, so they're not going to listen to me anyways, but it's just something I wanted to mention. I do recognize that, and it does feel like those new teams are really, really good. So, we're going to switch over now to the screen capture here, and I'm going to just minimize that. So let's kind of go to the YouTube, and we're just going to start showing some testing here. So I've got just a bunch of, teams in here. I don't even remember in what order this is or isn't, to be perfectly honest. I can't even, it's just gonna just jump all over the place. I was doing a lot of testing. I was trying to splice this together. So here's our first, Jedi Vanguard attempt here. This is on the Relic 7 tier. If you're curious on mods, I can show you. I did not, if I changed mods, I will tell you. This team, I did not change mods. This team at Relic 7 feels really good. There are potential undermans that work. When you underman, there's a lot more RNG involved in the run. There's a lot more RNG involved when you are trying to underman compared to when you're bringing in a full team. So I did like that aspect where there is ways that you can avoid some of that RNG that plagued us in Naboo, right? So, I did want to mention that here, but this team, what I also will say is you'll see, we've lost Ayla, we just lost Plo Koon, and you guys are going to see in this run that it wasn't this massive problem. If you remember back to Battle for Naboo, if you lost a single character unless it was like Newt Gunray, you were cooked. Here, that's not the case. Like, we're going to be able to move through here and do really well, and I liked that a lot. I felt like it felt much more raid-like to me, that you could maybe lose somebody and it's not the end of the world. That was, you know, again, thumbs up from Fat Phil here, right? So this Jedi Vanguard team, I think, worked really, really well. I am going to move this to ×2 speed just so we can get through this run a little bit more. What I will say here is, I know a lot of players do not have Jocasta because she was a conquest unit. I'm going to tell you that she is the conquest unit that if you're trying to rush one of these, she is the one I would rush because of how good she is, even without Jedi Master Mace Windu. So that should be a high priority for a lot of players here, is working on Jocasta, getting her. So if you're looking for that conquest unit, this is the one that I would use. And then you guys will see here on the Relic 7 tier, that was a max score. So felt really good there. Liked this a lot. And again, I briefly show mods. So now here, this next attempt, we've got Qui-Gon Jinn, Kit Fisto, and Luminara. They're all at Relic levels. I don't know how important the Relics are on Qui-Gon, but my Depa and Temple Guard do not have Zetas and are at gear 11 here. So they're not yet 7-star. And, I was just trying this to see, hey, how does this work with these characters? And what I'm seeing, what I saw from this, it looked really, you guys will see it works pretty well, which I was very happy about. I gotta say, I was really pleased that this team worked as well as it did. This to me is one of the pros, right? A team that really isn't quite there yet, right? Not fully geared up, still able to at least score some points. And Depa and even Temple Guard's abilities, having AoE attacks, really makes this raid much simpler because of the disguised clone troopers going into stealth. So I did really like this. That is one of the, I'd say, pros of this raid compared to some in the past, is that there are a lot of really good potential teams that work here. And then obviously the Enfys Nest solo is another one. This is, in my opinion, the, her and another character that we'll mention are, in my opinion, kind of like free to play friendly, because Nest does not need her Zeta for this. She does not need her Zeta. She does need to get remodded. I'm remodded for crit chance and offense, or crit avoidance and offense. But right there, that's 300,000 points with Nest. So one big thing that's a positive here, your entire guild can get 15 million points just from using Enfys Nest. And that is a pretty, I made sure I tried this a bunch of times to just verify that this is what's going on, right? I really tried to make sure, hey, is this consistent? So she gets stunned there, so we take it out, we go back in. But it, you guys will see through a lot of the testing here that it was pretty consistent. You were able to do this, and the runs are very fast. So positives, again, so far through this. Very, tier 0, very accessible. And remember, in Battle for Naboo, that was not the case. So I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, so there I, misplayed, go back in. But look how quick that was, right? It's very fast. The runs felt very quick. Another thing that was really, really good, in my opinion, is once you get through phase 1, right? Once you get through this first phase, it is very simple, right? It's not like Naboo where you'd get through wave 1 and then you'd still could have to restart at wave 7. It was really nice just to be able to kind of work through a raid like this. So yeah. Oops. Yeah, so now I'm just waiting for Disguised Clone Trooper to come out. There we go. And then we're going to be able to solo this. So that felt really, really good here. So I want to pause this real quick because now we're on to Tarkin clones. The first couple things you saw, more free-to-play friendly. Jedi Vanguard, the new Jedi Vanguard with Jocasta, the older, some of the older ones with the new characters mixed in, lower tiers, Enfys Nest soloing. That's all really good stuff. That's going to help your guild succeed. It's going to help your guild build some of those points. One negative, I would say, is some of the teams, like my Tarkin clones, just for perspective, right? So here's a negative, but my Tarkin clones are Relic 9. Now, I don't have Scorch, and I don't have Disguised Clone Trooper. I could not tell a difference between the Relic 7 tier, the Relic 8 tier, the Relic 9 tier, and the Relic 5 tier. They all just felt like very challenging. And that kind of frustrates me because I want it to feel different at Relic 7 than it does at, Relic 9 and whatever down the road. And this has to do, and let me just kind of, this has to do with these modifiers, right? You get these bonuses at these different tiers. This was something in the Naboo raid, if you remember at launch, the Luminara team didn't work below Relic 5 because that's when her bonus started. I do think CG is going to really have to look at these and say, are the bonuses at the right place? Are they working the right way? Or do we need to adjust these? Because the new Bad Batch, I'll show you, they're getting their Relic 9 bonus at every tier. Now, there's a bug there that's working. But without that bug, I don't know how good they're going to be. So one of my flaws with this raid is that these bonuses, again, like Naboo, I don't feel are... I understand needing them at the higher tiers, but there needs to be something at those lower tiers also to make it a little bit more accessible. A Relic 7 team should feel like a Relic 7 team. A Relic, 5 team should feel like a Relic 5 team. And at times it did not, and I think it's because they used these bonuses at some of the later tiers to make that doable, and then don't think about the consequences of not having it somewhere else. So I did want to bring that up as a negative. I was not a fan of that. And I hope that does get corrected. So here we are with Tarkin clones. And I got to give a shout out to Tempest here. He was the one that was kind of helping me in chat figure this team out. I, for the life of me, was just like, okay, this is one of the few teams I'd say that I could do a tier on, but I was not going to be able to get a max score. I tried a lot, and it just was a mess. So we're not able to save the first Jedi, but we are able to save some of the other ones, which, like, fine. But it did just, you're like, ugh, I don't like this. So this was I'd say this team frustrated me a little bit, that you kind of needed Scorch. And it's like, not only do you need Scorch, you need Relic 9. So it kind of was like a Relic 9 or bust with this team, Scorch or bust with this team. And I can't say I'm overly pleased with that. I think that was a little bit, I don't want to say cheap, but it just, I'm like, I don't know that I like that as much. And again, just Lord Vader just souling your team. So I kept that 1.4 million. A little bit short of what I would have liked there, but, it worked. And again, I'm just showing you that I did have to remod my Tarkin here. Because unfortunately, he was not going to work without the remodding. I might have to do that for the Relic 9 tier. I'm not 100% certain. But I will say overall, comparative to, like the Naboo raid, there's a lot less remodding required for this raid that I felt was so much better. I will also just kind of say, in fairness, another thing that I felt was positive for this raid, right? If I'm being honest, one other positive though was that Tarkin is capable of soloing some of those earlier tiers. So I was a fan of that. Showing some more Enfys Nest footage here just to kind of, work our way through. Now, another good thing about this raid, like I said, there's these teams like Nest. There's capabilities that you're going to be able to, work through your guild, use this team. Hey, it's just one character. Nest, in my opinion, right? I said this earlier, I'm going to say it again. She is the free-to-play option. If you are looking for, hey, what's going to be the best? No Zetas, no major, thing you need here. Going to be able to get 300k. Really like it. But this is where I say where, the runs don't take that long. I know I have this on 2x speed, and it still is really fast. So yeah, man. Now, let's get into another, I'd say, negative about this raid. And I'm going to let's get through this Nest testing. Sorry, a lot of Nest testing. And again, this, I did want to say, I did a lot of nest testing because I wanted to make sure that it was actually working. You know, I didn't want it to be something where it's like, oh yeah, you know, it works, and then you've got to like play perfectly. You know, if you just make the right moves, it's pretty easy to win with Memphis Nest. So I did like that. I felt that was good. Another solo option, right, was Hondo, which again, I'm gonna say one, like, you know, as a negative here, the characters at solo, they soloed it at the tier 1, right? They soloed it at like tier 0. As soon as you bump it up to the gear 12 tier, it just was a disaster, right? It just did not work. So this was something that I will say, it's like as soon as you went to gear 12 tier, this no longer worked. And I got a bone to pick and say, I don't like that, because it's like, how do I phrase this? I have a Relic 6 Hondo. If I bring Hondo to Relic 9, he should be better than my Relic 6. And the fact that he's not, like as soon as you get to the gear 12 here, it just doesn't work. That was frustrating for me, because there's something that they did very clearly to kind of like stop that from happening. Like, they, you know what I mean? Like, they did something to very clearly say, we're going to make sure that this doesn't work beyond that tier, where comparative to there's RNG involved in it, it just was like, yeah, it was not working. And that to me was a negative. I did not like that whatsoever, to be honest. But with Hondo here, I did not have to remod, which I like, you know, again. So you guys will see here that he actually just really does well. You just got to kind of like it. Phase 1 takes a little bit, but then after that, it's pretty, you're like, all right, this works, you know, well enough. And so you just kind of keep going here. You let them do their thing. Just keep going, and then from there, you know, you just, like, hey, look, he even gets stunned here. In a later tier, he'd be dead from that stun, right? So, you know, stunning is not ideal for him. But this, I have to say, this is another negative. When those guys are under stealth, there's like nothing you can do sometimes. You just have to wait for them to come out. That is kind of annoying. Like, I would prefer that there was something I could do, that they're not just constantly sitting there in stealth. Like, it's like, ugh, because you have to target Lord Vader. Which that was just kind of, again, like a frustration for me. So you guys will see, like, here, look, I can't target that guy yet. Gotta wait for him to come out. It just is, I get it, just a bone to pick, that it's like, ugh, why do I constantly have to keep doing this? So yeah, and then I think I accidentally, look, I went to go test more, and then I like submitted, so like I wasn't able to do more testing there, and I kind of was like mad at myself. But then, you know, just another Jedi Vanguard attempt. I do want to say this, right? The RNG in this raid is far lower. When you remember the beginning of the Naboo raid, there was a lot of like, oh, if this happens, restart. If this happens, restart. And that could even happen at like wave 5, wave 6, wave 7, like even like right at the end, you might have to restart if you wanted a max score. Here, once you get through phase 1, it's done. Like, you just have, you're on autopilot at that point. It felt really good. I got to give a lot of credit to Capital Games for that. Like, you make tier 1 the challenging thing, you restart there, and then once you're through that, it's basically, you know, home free. You got to play through the rest. That to me I was a big fan of. Where I'd say a lot of the RNG comes into play is if you're trying undermans. And before I show the rest of this footage and kind of wrap up our video, what I do want to say is I understand that there's some really good underman opportunities here. Like Tarkin, Oppo, and Scorch is a great Relic 9 underman. But I don't like that one as much, because the Dark Side clones are a GL team. Like, bringing them all to Relic 9 for Lord Vader is huge. So I'm not as big of a fan of that Relic 9 trio. But eventually, for all of us, there is the Jedi Master Mace Windu, Depa Billaba, and Jedi Temple Guard that at Relic 9, those three crush it. They do really well. And why I like that one a lot more is Depa and Mace are part of their era battle. Now, I don't know how long we'll get those era battles for. They've said they'll come back periodically. We don't know what that means. But I'm willing to gamble that Mace, Depa, and Jedi Temple Guard to Relic 9 could be a very good investment, not just for this raid, but if you get their era battle even twice a year, there's crystals there. There's Relic 9 materials, Relic 8 materials. There's all these extra resources that come along with that. So I want to encourage you, if you're looking for those underman opportunities, it seemed like the Jedi Vanguard was the better investment from that perspective, because you get Mace, Depa, Jedi Temple Guard, and another one that seemed to be working from what I heard was Kelleran, Ayla, and Jocasta Nu. So like 2-3-man Jedi Vanguards worked really well. And again, you know, the Tarkin, Scorch, Oppo did work. I will do some, whenever I do get Scorch, I will do testing. I will try to say, hey, you know, it is working, it's not working. But you know, for me, I don't want to encourage that, because I want to encourage you to build all of the dark side clones. Now, maybe it's a conversation to have of, all right, I'm going to build the dark side clones, but I'm not going to take the Model Relic 9 fill because I don't have those resources. You know, that's another topic for a whole other day. But let's go back into our footage here, right? And, you know, let's play this last battle here, right? So, again, like I said, there's, you know, this team was at the Relic 7 tier, and, you know, you can tell, like, at times you're just like, oh my gosh, you know, this is crazy. I wonder if this is the, you know, Jocasta right now is absolutely bugged, actually. So I think this is the run where she's, I forget if she's bugged in this run or not. Yeah, so look here. So, okay, yeah. So look, she throws the rifle, right? She's stunned, she's still alive, and then Kelleran Beck goes. She should have died there because technically Lord Vader's alive and he's an enemy, but because, you know, she didn't die. So, you know, she should have there, but, you know. So there is right now there is a bug with Jocasta where it's like, yeah, she should not. So there she died because there's those guys. I should have done the AoE there, but what's funny is Kelleran is going to carry us here, and we're going to see if he can, you know, see out this last wave. And I was laughing a little bit because I was like, man, Kelleran actually feels like he is, you know, the Kelleran from the Era battle that I had to do, or that, you know, the Dark Side clone one. So Kelleran, oops, wrong person to target. Look at this. I mean, that is just insane. He literally soloed those guys at the end there, which that was a lot of fun. I laughed at that one. So there is some bugs, right? And that Jocasta bug is absolutely there. So having shown that footage, having talked a lot, I'd say here's my biggest takeaways. Yes, it's way too soon. Yes, some of the teams don't work beyond some of the levels, which is a little bit frustrating, but there is a lot of opportunity for growth. And what I take as encouragement here is the teams that work really well. And I thought I should have had a battle in here with my Bad Batch. I thought I had a Bad Batch battle for you guys in this. I guess not. Did we just miss it, or did I skip it? I would have swore I had a Bad Batch video to show you. I don't remember seeing Bad Batch at all. Which that kind of frustrates me, because that was like a really good team that I was enjoying, and it's just not a part of this. Yeah, it's really frustrating. Let me do this real quick, guys. While I have you just looking there, let me show you the Bad Batch one, because the Bad Batch was actually a very, like, good video, or a good team to use. So, like, I really did like that. Let's pull this up here. All right. Let me see if it's, I gotta find the right spot for this. I took notes of like a couple of them where it's like it worked. Let me see here. All right. Give me one sec here, guys. I'm just looking for this. But, sorry, I apologize. This is absolutely not professional, but, you know. I did want to at least try to get this for you. Yeah, okay, I did that. Where am I at here? Come on now. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. Alright. I can't find my bad batch. I apologize, guys. I don't want to just, like, keep looking on here while I'm kind of quiet. Let me just see if this is the right. Let's pull this up. We're just going to try this. Go from here. Alright. So, there we go. It's kind of live right now. There we go. There's some bad batch footage. Here's the thing with the bad batch. I was struggling mightily with the bad batch. But then once I got their modding down, it worked really, really well. Let me see if I can find where I had it actually, like, working. Yeah, I think this was this it? Yeah, there we go. So the bad batches, let's go through one more. I'll kind of play this here while I talk. This bad batch team, I gotta say, once I got the modding down, worked really well, right? I was very happy with this. I'm sorry it took me a little bit to find this, but I really liked this bad batch team. Once I remodded and you just needed Hunter faster than Batcher, I gotta say I was very impressed with how easy this felt. Now, they are getting their Relic 9 bonus right now, which should not be happening. But it just felt like this worked, and what I liked is their captive, like, look, the captive mechanic was still really kind of, you know, I mean, it was very, very important, which was cool. Like, it was nice to see that the, you know, like, I can say I hadn't used this team before this attempt, and it just felt kind of cool to be able to use that captive mechanic to your advantage. Which that was, you know, again, I like it. Like, I thought that was a really good, I'll say, like, how do I phrase this? I felt it was really good that they took that mechanic and that it was really important for the raid. Like, it could have just been something where it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It was really important in this raid to have that captive mechanic. So now it's like, oh, it all makes sense. Like, they were planning for this, that you kind of need that captive because of those opening plays. So I really did like using this team. I will say one minor, I shouldn't say minor. One frustrating part is that it just, at times you're like, all right, if you don't have the right mods or the right order, that's when it got annoying. But I heard people doing this without the Zeta, or without as many Zetas as I have. Like, I have all their Zetas on them, but I heard people doing this without all the Zetas, which I was like, that's really awesome. Because I definitely think that is a huge part of where a lot of players' crunches, problems will be. The final thing I'll say, guys, I'll kind of, we'll end the video after this. The final thing I'll say is that there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more to come here. And overall, I think if you are free to play, you should take some solace and encouragement that it doesn't feel unplayable. With the right relic levels and the right teams, it's very playable. So it's just going to be about getting there. And a lot of us as content creators have told you, hey, here's the things we would be doing for this raid, so you start out. And there's a lot of players who are already doing better than they were in Naboo. Like, my guild is actually going to suffer for a little bit because we're not able to get to the same place we were in Naboo as of right now. But I know a lot of guilds who are not going to miss a beat, either because they're maxing it, like Old Man Logan, shout out to Three Scoundrels. Logan is able to, they're already max crating, which I would also take encouragement from. That even if you go crazy with your investment, you're not going to miss out on anything because you've already, maxed the raid. So there's a potential that if you are free to play, those pirates that you're going to build for Hondo, if you're going for that, now that they're not in the game yet, but once they start coming into the game, start using them, get additional points. But the other thing that they're going to allow you to do is while you're working on Hondo, you're going to be able to score more points. And I think that could be a really good option for you guys. So there's more to come on that. Overall, there's some, like I said, there's positives, there's negatives. I like it. I think this is a successful raid. I think CG did a good job. Obviously, some things that they're going to have to tweak, fix here and there. But comparative to a lot of the other raids we've had at the start, this feels really good. Biggest complaint being not enough characters in the game that are farmable. Biggest thumbs up, good job. Really fast runs, very strategic. There's not this, okay, if this guy gets a turn, just retreat. There's a lot of very good strategies to, hey, you bring the full team, got the right relics on them, and you're going to be fine, which I appreciated that. Like, there was nothing worse than using the Luminara team and praying to God that the command droid didn't, dispel your potency up and, heal over time. Here, there's not any of that. So I really, thumbs up CG. Really good bones for this raid. Excited for the rest of the teams to go farmable, and we'll continue to put out more testing and videos for you guys. Sorry this was so long. I did want to just kind of show you guys that footage, break it down in a summary video. So like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the force be with you. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.